Hello and welcome to my video. You may remember learning languages in school and how horrendously boring this was. I mean, it was the same for us when we were in France. Some of us slept at the back of the English language lessons. It was that bad. Now the good news is we're no longer at school, so you are free to learn the real French that people speak in France. Today I'm going to give you 5 really important points to think about if you want to learn to speak French like a native. First of all, who are you and why should I listen to you? You may be thinking. Well, my name is Claire and I've lived in the UK for 22 years. As you can tell, I'm French. I'm originally from Paris. Over the years, I have coached adults, teenagers, children for school, exams, holidays, people who've bought a house in France and have gone to live there. I've taught people in their workplace. I actually do a lot of business French training, and I have actually developed my own minimalistic approach to learning French, which is based on learning 20% of the language that you're going to use 80% of the time, which is absolutely not what you've done in school, or probably not at college either. Point number 1, why you will not learn the real French in school. School is all about academic learning and performance. The school wants you to get good grades to make them look good in the league tables. Not for your own well-being. They haven't got primarily your interest at heart. They don't actually care that much if you can or can't speak the language. They just want you to pass the exam at the end. So that means the teachers are stuck teaching a really outdated and rigid curriculum, and most of the time they're not even French themselves, so they don't actually know how French is spoken. And I will teach you the formal French that's in books. I've got another video on this, difference between spoken and written French. Have a look, because I explain that much more in depth, and that's really important. So what I'm going to show you in all these videos is actually the real spoken French. You may be wondering, well, if school's not the best environment to learn, how on earth do I learn French? Well, the way I found to be most effective is to learn little and often. So it's not really to have a block of 1 hour a week and then you do nothing in between lessons. That will lead you nowhere. It's doing your hour of lessons if you need. That's always really useful to have a coach to guide you through the process. In between, I would say every day, 5, 10, 15 minutes of revision, or watch videos online. There's plenty of videos on YouTube which are not by me, just anyone. There's plenty of podcasts. You can watch cartoons in French on YouTube, you can read books, you can read little magazines, anything you can get your hands on. And that's really the practice you need. You need to listen, you need to read, and you need to speak. In other words, you need to practice all the time. However little, it's a little bit every day. So if you think you're going to learn French by coming to the lesson every week and forgetting about it as soon as the lesson's over, sorry, but you never will. You never will. You'll get nowhere. Which leads me to point number 2. You will not be fluent by studying 1 hour a week. So the best structure is to actually have your hour with a coach and then do all that practice in between. But at the end of the day, you still have to do the work. I can't do it for you. I will show you everything you need to do, but it's entirely up to you. And you've got to be consistent in your effort. I'm not asking you to sit there for hours and produce pages and pages of written stuff. That's not what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm not expecting you to be fluent coming back to the next lesson. But I want you to do the work. Learning a language is a bit like getting fit. If you go to the gym once a week and you never do anything in between, you'll get no result whatsoever. Well, it's the same thing. You want to develop your bicep, you've got to curl several times a week. It leads me to point number 3. How do I manage to do this on top of work, family commitments, maybe hobbies, maybe anything else you're doing outside of work that's taking up all your time? Well, it's the same way you achieve anything in life, is by making it a priority. So just put it in your diary, put slots for French like you would anything else, and open your diary every day and you'll see it and you do it. In order to do that, you could steal time from your TV watching in the evening, or get up a little bit earlier, or even play a video while you're preparing dinner, for instance. I do that a lot. I managed to listen to entire books, audiobooks, while preparing dinner, which otherwise would be kind of a waste of time, wouldn't it? Number 4, get ready to have your mind blown. You're not just learning a language, you're learning an entirely new structure. It's not just about that word means what that, because for that there's Google Translate. And a lot of people say to me, why bother learning when I've got Google Translate on my phone? And I say to them, okay, try typing in Google Translate, il ne faut pas chercher midi à 14 heures, which translates literally as, you mustn't look for midday at 2 o'clock. And that's what Google Translate will return. And you think, what does that mean anyway? Well, actually it means don't overcomplicate things. But you wouldn't know that. Google Translate doesn't know that. It just returns the words. That's not a saying you have in English. It's typically French. So only a brain can do that. Only a brain can tell you, well, that's actually what it means. Your brain's better than Google Translate. So that's why you need to learn the language. Number 5, people tend to forget when they learn a language, however complicated or alien, it's never just about the language. It's about learning a whole culture and learning how people think and why they act the way they do, why they have certain attitudes regarding values like work, family, education. We may be European, but we have totally different attitudes in France from the UK, which is where I live. In each one of my lessons, I try to incorporate a cultural aspect, and through anecdotes or stories, and knowing a bit of the culture will make you a far more effective communicator, especially if you're learning French to go and live there, or if you work with French colleagues, or if you have a French boss. You also need to know not to ask certain questions, such as, how much do you make? Now, if you ask that to an American, they would tell you how much they make. They have no problems telling you. They have no awkwardness about it. If you ask the Brits, they'll think you're a bit cheeky. They might give you an answer, they might not. Ask the French person and they'll think you're rude, very rude, and quite aggressive and in your face, and anyway, it's none of your business, so I'm not going to tell you. And that's the attitude. So you really need to know this stuff before you go there, or before you start speaking with French people. So you may be wondering, okay, what do I do now? First thing you do, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my videos. The other thing you can do is leave a comment below and tell me what you need help with. And if you need help with lessons as well, let me know. You can contact me, contact details are on my website. I shall see you in the next video.